Folks, this is Book Talk with Corbin, and I'm your host. Have another great guest for you. Now, this is Mr. Wayne Allyn Root. Many times people refer to him as the conservative warrior. He has a #1 best-selling book out called The Great Patriot Protest and Boycott Book. And he also is a nationally syndicated radio host on USA Radio Network. Usually runs from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, guys? And he has a podcast called War Raw Podcast. War Raw. And I'm really excited about bringing him on. I read a little bit about something about his background. And I said, man, we gotta bring this brother on because of his background, and we'll touch upon that in a minute or so. I also just learned a few days ago that Mr. Root has been taken off Twitter. So I said, well, anytime, when you have something in common like that with President Trump, I said, man, I got to talk to this brother. I just got to talk to him. It's great. Mr. Root, thank you so much for joining me on this podcast. I really appreciate you.
Great to be on with you. How are you, Corbin?
Doing great, man. I can't be doing any better. I really can't. I know we don't have much time, so I just want to get straight to it. Again, like I said, we're going to talk about your book, The Great Patriot Protest and Boycott Book. But I wonder if we can just briefly, first of all, talk about your Twitter suspension. I mean, what happened? Why did they take you off Twitter?
No idea. I was banned with 155,000 followers last January, banned for life, evidently, just like President Trump. President Trump is now suing, and he's got, I think, 50,000 plaintiffs, but he made sure the lead plaintiffs are myself and Dr. Naomi Wolf. She's from the left, I'm from the right. We were both banned for life. I went to tweet one day, and I think I put out like 40,000 tweets in my 10 plus years on Twitter, 40,000 tweets. And all of a sudden, something I said got me banned for life. And I don't even know what, because I went to tweet and it wasn't there anymore. I was disappeared. There was no account. And within an hour, the difference between me and most people is I'm well known, I'm a celebrity. And so within an hour, there were articles popping up all over the world that Wayne Root has been banned from Twitter. President Trump's buddy, Wayne Allyn Root, national radio talk shows, banned for life by Twitter. And all those articles, including the front page of the UK Daily Mail and the New York Post and the UK this and the UK that, a lot of UK coverage. I don't know why. I guess because they hate Trump. So they keep Trump in the headlines. Trump's good for business. Let's face it. Everyone hated him, but the media can't live without him. All their business was up, 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 up. The more you talk about Trump, the better your ratings are. So they all covered this in Australia and England and Canada and all over the United States, New York Post and quite a few newspapers. But all of them called Twitter and said, and I don't know how you call Twitter. I have no idea you call Twitter. They called Twitter and said, why is Wayne Root banned? And they said Twitter didn't respond. So nobody has ever told me to this day why I was banned. But it's one of two reasons, two things I believe in very strongly, I'm sure. One is I believe the election was stolen in 2020, rigged and stolen. And I put comments about that, but really mild comments because I knew Twitter didn't approve of that, and they banned and they censored. So really, I just put up a video and said, watch this truck in the middle of the night go to the voting center in Detroit and watch the video as they take hundreds of thousands of ballots at 3 o'clock in the morning out of the truck and bring them in to be counted because Trump has a 300,000 vote lead. And these are all coming from Democrat voters. So that's all I said. And the next day I was banned for life. And a month before that, I said, lockdowns don't work. Fauci and the CDC, completely wrong. Right. Never has a lockdown worked against a germ. A germ gets you whether you're locked down or not. Right. But everyone's economy is destroyed. Everyone loses their business. And they said misleading health information, and you are suspended for a week. So that happened a month before the ban, and then the night before I put up that video. So I would assume those two things put me in Twitter jail and Twitter hell, and eventually they made the decision to pull the plug.
Twitter hell. I love that, brother. That's why you're so popular, man. You got away with words, my brother.
My question is this America, Corbin?
Right.
Let's say you and I disagree about something. Now, I have no idea your politics, but let's say you and I have a little debate now. I would never try and censor you or ban you. I would debate you nicely, positively, respectfully, and I would never ban you. Not even if you were liberal or super liberal. If you were communist, I wouldn't ban you. Everyone has a right to talk in America. I remember, Corbin, when I was a kid growing up in 78 or 79, the Ku Klux Klan marched in Skokie, Illinois,
Yep.
right?
Yes.
And I'm Jewish. They hate me just as much as they hate any African American.
Yes.
And I remember the ACLU defended their right to march.
Right.
And these are Nazis. These are murderers.
Yes.
And I hate those people just as much as you or anybody else. I hate them.
Yes.
But they have a right to march in America. We'll all mock them and laugh at them, and they'll gain no supporters. But they have a right to march. Suddenly, Wayne Root doesn't have a right to speak in America if I think differently than the liberal establishment. That's amazing to me. How is that America? We're heading down a horrible path. I've written about it. I say we're right at 1938 again. That's not the Holocaust. A lot of people are mistaken. I don't compare anything to the Holocaust because that was millions of people killed in gas chambers and concentration camps. That's not happening, clearly. I get that. But 1938 was the pre-Holocaust where they tried to make sure everybody hated Jews. So they put out lots of propaganda to prepare them for the day where they came to take the Jews away. They put out so much propaganda for the next 3 years that in 1941, they took them away to the concentration camps and nobody cared because they were filthy, disgusting, horrible people. Yes. Those are the same words they're using about unvaccinated Americans. And it's really disgusting. And it's interesting because who's unvaccinated in America? Pretty much only white Republicans and black people, right? Those two groups generally vote opposite. We're coming together now. And I think that scares the hell out of the establishment. And everybody should learn, don't trust the government. They don't have your best interests in mind. And I've always said that about the black community and the Jewish community. Why would you trust government when government's the one that enslaved you and murdered you for hundreds of years now? Never trust government or government bureaucrats or politicians. They lie and they lie and they lie to serve their own purposes. Never believe a word they say. So I think that people should be skeptical of the vaccine and the vaccine mandates because I don't believe a word Fauci says. I don't believe a word the CDC says. I don't believe a word Biden says. I don't believe a word the government says. And who started the vaccines? Donald Trump, who I'm a big fan and friend of. But I don't agree. See, you could have respectful disagreement even with someone you like. Trump's right about everything except the vaccine. He's dead wrong on the vaccine. It doesn't work and it's killing people and the media's covering it up. So Trump has it all wrong. He listened to Fauci and he listened to a liar and he got conned. Other than that, he was the greatest economic president in America's history. What he did for this economy, for me, for you, for black Americans, for Hispanic Americans, greatest economy in history. Love Donald Trump. But the vaccine, he made a big mistake. He listened to the wrong people, and he still doesn't understand that. I'm trying to convince him.
Great. Folks, this is Book Talk with Corbin. I'm your host, and we have with us today Mr. Wayne Allyn Root. He just put out a great new book, The Great Patriot Protest and Boycott Book. How's that book doing as far as sales are concerned, brother?
Well, it's been out for 1 month, and it's been #1 in 20 categories at Amazon. So I'd say it's doing pretty good. 20 categories at Amazon. And right near the top of all 6 million books sold at Amazon. Great Patriot Protest and Boycott book. And it's the perfect timing because everything in my book, Corbin, applies to what's happening today. Since the book came out, you see Southwest Airlines pilots took down an entire airline and said, if you want to give us vaccines, we're not flying anymore. Your flights will all be grounded. And they all called in sick. And 2,500 flights got canceled. And Southwest lost all their money for a few days, and then they capitulated and they said, you know what, we're not going to fire anyone over the vaccine mandate. And the next day, Delta's CEO said, we're not going to listen to the federal mandate and we're not going to fire anyone over the mandate. So my philosophy works. My whole book is about Dr. Martin Luther King's philosophy civil disobedience.
Right.
When people want you to do something you don't want to do, you got to sit in the front of the bus till they arrest you. You got to sit at the lunch counter till they arrest you. You got to ground their flights till they arrest you or fire you. You got to do whatever you can to get the attention of America, the American people, the media, and the CEO of your company, and drive them to their knees and squeeze them and bankrupt them, and they will pay attention. When your pocketbook cuts them off, they will pay attention. Dr. Martin Luther King was smart, and he did it, and it worked. He won with the civil rights movement. And now today, I want to bring that back for people who disagree with government. And that's what this book's about. I list all the biggest companies in America, the name of their CEOs, the name of their board of directors. And I give you the phone number, the email, the physical mailing address to go attack them day and night. I mean, attack with your mouth, never violently. I don't believe in violence. Civil disobedience, strikes, boycotts, protests all day long against the biggest companies in America. Bring them to their knees. And Delta's on the list, by the way. Southwest is not. Delta's on the list. So you can contact Delta Airlines and tell them, I won't fly with you anymore if you demand a vaccine mandate. So that's why I wrote the book, The Great Patriot Protest and Boycott Book. And it's all happening in front of my very eyes over this month.
And brother, what was there something in your background that inspired you to go to King Jr.?
Yeah, well, my background was I'm a Jewish kid. Obviously, you can see I'm white Jewish kid, pale, acne, glasses, and braces at the age of 13. And I grew up in a black town, Mount Vernon, New York, on the Bronx borderline, went to an all-black middle school, went to an all-black high school, and I got beat up a lot. I got beat up in the lunchroom. I got beat up in the bathroom. I got beat up running home from school. And I learned how to fight back. And I took boxing lessons and wrestling lessons. And I lifted weights all summer. And I had these tough kids who toughed me up. And then the next 3 kids that bullied me, I knocked them unconscious. And guess what? All the bullies in the school either became my best friend after that, or they stayed away from me after that. And nobody ever touched me again the rest of my life. So what I learned was, you've got to respond to bullies. And I believe the Biden administration is a bunch of bullies, and they're trying to bully everyone into doing what they want you to do. And most of what they want you to do is wrong. The economy is dramatically down. Things are just in major decline in this country. We're on the verge of a Great Depression. They don't know what they're doing. He's like a brain dead zombie with dementia, and the people behind him are filling his head with terrible ideas that will destroy this country. And we cannot comply. We must resist, and we must fight everything this terrible government is doing to us. Just like when I was a kid, I learned how to fight back. And once you fight back, most of the people you're fighting with respect you and become your friend. And we need to do that around the world too. You can't withdraw from Afghanistan and run away like a little baby, like a little sissy. It doesn't work. The rest of the world now says we can stomp all over Joe Biden. America's a joke. America's chicken. America's filled with cowards. And now we're going to have trouble all over the world because he backed down to bullies. Never back down to bullies, ever. That's what I learned in my background.
Folks, this is Book Talk with Corbin. I'm your host. Go to my website, booktalkwithcorbin.com. We'll have this interview posted probably in about a week or so, but go there right now. You can also see my interviews with Steve Turley, Dr. Steve Turley, and David Horowitz. Brother, this is I just wanted to close with this one question, or to get your feedback on this one comment, because with you, we can go on next 2-3 hours. And I mean, this is great. This is just fantastic.
Do it again.
Yeah, I mean, that would be an honor and a privilege. But brother, you had specifically talked about the Biden administration. I sort of see just this whole, almost like this whole movement, I'd call the left wing or socialist or cultural Marxist movement that's going on. And it's sort of like rolled over. I never expected it to roll over someone like David Chappelle. I don't know if you saw that special.
Of course I did.
You did? Okay.
Yeah.
And give me some comment on that if you can. And we'll close it with that.
Well, it wasn't, and excuse my phone for ringing. I should unplug my landline. That's where I do all my interviews on, and I didn't unplug it, and someone's ringing right now, but it'll stop. So look, whether it's Dave Chappelle or whether it's Bill Maher, there's another big liberal. And Dave Chappelle's black, Bill Maher's white. doesn't matter the color of your skin, doesn't matter your political philosophy. They're all going to try and stamp you out, if you're not politically correct.